Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. Today we're going to take a look at creating this engraved text look. This is very popular, very Web 2.0-ish. You can see it, you can find it all over the web. It's a very easy effect to create here in Photoshop, and we're going to actually create it using layer styles, which is going to allow us to keep live type. You can see here there's a live type layer. Very cool. It's going to add versatility to this. We're going to be able to come in here and edit the type, edit any of those type properties, font, size, etc., and it's going to be live type with the engraved effect. All right, so we're going to begin this by going File, New. We're going to create a new document, 845 pixels wide by 475 pixels tall. Color mode RGB, background contents for now are going to be white. However, the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and select our foreground color and just choose a nice dark gray. Hit OK. Alt backspace to fill that in. Wonderful. Now that we've done that, we want to grab the rectangle tool, which here I actually happen to have selected, the rectangle tool, and we want to draw a shape layer. You can see this first icon here is shape layers, not paths, not filled pixels, shape layer. And we want to make sure we don't have a style applied. Color can be anything. Actually, I'm just going to give it a color of white so we can see it. So I'm going to draw out a nice rectangle here. There we go, a nice white rectangle. Now that we've done that, we're going to go Layer, Layer Style. Gradient overlay. We want to apply just a simple overlay basically to give this a little bit of oomph behind our engraved text. So I'm going to select the gradient bar here, and I have a pre-built gradient here, this metal gradient. And just a quick tip, to create a metal gradient, really all you need to do is mix a bunch of light and dark grays, throw in a really dark gray or black as a shadow, and then a white just as like an extreme highlight. And you're typically going to get a nice metal slash chromey look. So just mix up some dark and light grays, throw in a black, throw in a white, and you should be well on your way to creating a nice simple metal gradient effect. Hit OK, and we can see my gradient effect there. Ignore the stroke, that's just the path here on the vector mask being highlighted. We're going to hit OK, and we're going to go ahead and grab the text tool. Again here, foreground color can be anything you want because we're going to change the color using a layer style. I'm going to go ahead and, whoop, I didn't want to do that. We want to select out here with our type tool. There we go. And type anything you want. I'm going to type the word Tutvid. And then hold down the Command or Control key and hit Enter or Return. It's going to commit those changes. Here's our type. I'm going to drag this down onto the button. And I'm actually going to center it within the button by Control clicking this vector mask here. And I'm going to make sure I have my Move key selected. And I'm just going to hit the Align Horizontal and Align Vertical. There we go. So we've got it nicely centered there on our button. Command or Control D to deselect that. Now up here on the text layer, I'm actually going to stretch out this dock so I can collapse my shape layer. Here on the text layer, we're going to go ahead and go Layer, Layer Style, and we're going to start with a color overlay. I want to give this probably a light slash medium gray, something like that. It almost disappears into the metal now. Hit OK, and we're going to go ahead and add an inner shadow. And the inner shadow, you don't want it to be too extreme. You just want it to be enough to basically show off and say, hey, look, I'm engraved a little bit. So I'm going to actually change, I'm going to deselect Use Global Light, and I'm going to make it come from the top just a little bit more, like so. And I'm going to set the distance maybe to 2. You know what, we're going to boost the distance a little bit. Let's try 3. And then size, let's try downsizing that a little bit. You know what, I actually like when it's nice and soft. What we'll do to make it a little less intense is just reduce the opacity a little bit. All right, something like that. And now that I've done that, I am going to bring the size back to 5 pixels. There we go. So we've got an inner shadow and a color overlay. Now the thing about the inner shadow is you could look at it in two ways. It could be cut down in, or it could be, you know, embossed and popping up out at you. In order to kind of kill that and give this bottom edge a defined edge, we're going to apply a stroke. All right? We want to just give a nice 1 pixel stroke, but the trick here is we want to change the fill type to gradient. Now with the gradient tool, we're going to choose foreground to transparent. And in this case, my foreground color is white. You want your foreground color to be white. You can see what that's doing. It's giving us a nice highlighted edge down here on the bottom of our text. Now that's a little bit too extreme, so we'll bump the opacity back off, you know, to around 50%. And just like that, we have a nice engraved text. The cool thing about this is we can still go in and change that color overlay. In this case, I think I want to make it a little bit of a darker gray. And hit OK, OK. And there we have a nice engraved text effect. And you can see we still have our live editable type. which I can type anything I want here. I'm going to select it, and I'm just going to type Nate. Control Enter, Command Return, and there we go. We have our nice engraved text.